Thank you, Mr. Chair, Chairman King, members of the committee. My name is Matthew Kita. I'm testifying on behalf of myself and the Texas Trial Lawyers Association. We are opposed to the bill in its current form. That said, I'm happy to report that we've had some opportunities to talk both with the proponent of the bill, and I've had some very productive conversations. Although I think we have some small disagreements, we certainly are happy to continue to work through them. We've had an opportunity to meet with Chairman King, and we'd like to continue this dialogue as we move forward. I think it's clear, and you've heard a couple recitations of Chapter 95 and what it actually does, but I think it's undisputed that its purpose, when it was passed 22 years ago by this legislature, was to limit the liability for dangerous conditions on real property to the people that were actually controlling those conditions. So, in other words, the underlying policy interest is based on the fundamental premise that contractors are better able to protect their employees from the risks associated with their type of work than a completely disassociated property owner would be. In other words, if a property owner turns over all control of the premises to a third party, then he shouldn't be on the hook simply because the third party created the dangerous condition. And for 20 years, Chapter 95 governed premises liability claims only. And the problem that it seems that the proponents seek to solve here is to avoid having frivolous claims brought against employees of property owners. And I agree with Mr. Lynch that the INEOS case did look at this statute and recognize that employees were not specifically mentioned in the definition. But there was a case, the term before INEOS, and this is very important. That case is called Abudahun versus Dow Chemical. And I don't have the site for it, but I'd be happy to provide the committee with it. And that case held for the very first time that the words premises liability are also not in the statute. And so for the first time, the Texas Supreme Court has held that regular negligence claims can be associated with, or can be subject to a Chapter 95 defense. The problem that we have here is employees or property owners that have no control over their premises, okay, but just sort of send one of their employees out to the premises to receive reports or get an update or check results. If they commit negligence while on the premises and hurt someone, namely a subcontractor or an independent contractor's employee, they'll be completely immune from suit, because your burden as a plaintiff under Chapter 95 is to show that the property owner had control. So if it's undisputed that the property owner didn't have control and his employee commits a tort, now there's no one to sue. There's no recovery whatsoever. And the only possible redress that they would possibly have would be against their own employer, possibly under the comp system or through some other form of proportionate responsibility. I think we can work out this language. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. My concern is that, or my proposed remedy, is that we take the bill in its present form with one minor tweak to it, and that is we remove the word negligence from the definition of claim and change it to premises defect. The Supreme Court said negligence incorporates many different theories. It's not just limited to premises defect. And because the original intent of the statute, which is universally recognized, is so it was to be limited to premises defects only, we could solve all the problems both the plaintiff's side see as well as the proponents of the bill.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Kita?
I do. Mr. Chairman, just very briefly. Do you know when the statute was initially enacted, was there a specific reason that the legislature excluded employees?
Well, the statute was originally enacted in 1995. And it wasn't so much that the employees were excluded, but this is one of the reasons we know that it was only intended to apply to premises defect claims, is because an element of a premises defect claim is you have to be the owner of the property. So you'd never sue an employee because it would just be groundless. So from 1995 to 2005, this was never an issue. And I understand what the proponents are trying to do, and that is, well, if you can't sue the boss, how come you could sue his employee? Well, until 2005, nobody sued, or 2015, nobody sued the employees. But because the Supreme Court noted that the legislature left out the term premises defect, it opened it up to all negligence claims. So now if you say that neither the property owner or its employees can be sued for negligence, you've essentially created an immunity for construction sites throughout the state.
Okay, any others? Okay, thank you very much.